You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
It's Wednesday night, time for the Paranormal Experience radio show with host Kat Hobson. Kick back, relax, and get ready to learn. Welcome to the show. Now, here's Kat.
Good evening. And yet, you're not on the wrong day. It truly is Thursday. We are running a day late due to travel yesterday, and I am so excited. There's a couple of different things that are just going to be much too neat here. I am going to begin by covering what I thought of the Contact in the Desert 2018 experience. It actually was brilliant. The guests that they had were amazing. They were just really neat. And I'm not sure exactly what's happening because I hear myself in delay. But I'm going to have to fix this. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that the whole experience with Contact in the Desert began on Thursday night when I first arrived, and they were just brilliant. The whole experience, beginning to end, was fun. It was informative. I was able to enjoy lectures by some of my favorite people that I had never even anticipated getting to see in person. I started on Friday with the lecture by John DeSouza, who is someone that my listeners are familiar with, and it was just so much fun. The whole experience was, from beginning to end, pure John DeSouza. He was brilliant. He was outspoken. He was quick to educate people on why he left the FBI when he did, and what he actually wound up experiencing. He covered everything from, good grief, everything from the initial experience with para investigators, all the way through interdimensionals, and on into his experience with the whole trying to figure out what needed to be done as he got into his final book. His descriptions of the experiences from beginning to end were brilliant. He was probably one of, if not the best speakers that I saw during the whole weekend. His experience there was really terrific, and I think he was shocked by the number of people who showed up for his lecture. He was first out of the box, absolutely first out of the box on Friday morning, 9 to 10:30. There were several other fantastic lecturers as well, but his room was not just standing room only. He was having people find places to sit on the floor. And everyone there loved it. They didn't mind a bit that they had to wait on him as far as the seating went. They didn't mind a bit anything. It was just beautiful all the way through. And at the end of the lecture, the crowd just came down. It was full applause. It was full of questions. It was actually fun because he took questions through his lecture, which is very unusual. And he stayed right in place and did everything beautifully. It was just a great experience, and I was so happy and so proud to see my friend do so well. And not only that, but I got to meet his bride and spend time with both of them, and it was just a lovely experience even after that fantastic lecture. But shortly after that, immediately after that, for the first time, I got to see Travis Walton lecture. And I'm telling you that was a tough decision because Richard Dolan was lecturing on Down the Rabbit Hole of False Flags. Michael Tellinger was lecturing on Vanished Civilizations of Southern Africa. Gold Mining Empire of the Anunnaki. And if everyone listens, remembers, I am such a huge fan of Ray Davis and his book, Anunnaki Awakening, that you know that was a topic that was hard to walk away from. I did buy the DVD. But Travis's experience lecture was the first time I actually heard him discuss his experience. And for me, that was fascinating. I had no idea that it had been to the level that he described. I just wasn't well versed in his history, and it was something to actually hear him share this information and do so plainly, just matter of fact, and with the visuals that he brought as well, it just made it more interesting. I have never spoken with anyone who was a direct abductee. So for me, this was truly an experience. He was brave. I mean, and his friends were seriously trying to find him. They were under suspicion for his murder. I mean, it was just bizarre, the whole thing from beginning to finish. And the fact that he was able to survive, was brought back, and has been able to live as normal a life as he has was just really fascinating to me. I couldn't believe it. I don't think I would be that strong, but you never know until you have to face that, right? You know, from beginning to end, that was fascinating. I just couldn't believe it. When after lunch, we had the choices of Robert Schoch, Rogue Egyptologist, a tribute to John Anthony West, Linda Moulton Howe, James Gilliland, a couple of workshops, including John's, which I could not get a ticket for, and David Wilcock. And I chose Linda because these fast radio bursts are something that is being talked about a good bit now, and it just amazes me. You know, it's like if something is moving at the speed of light, we see this little choop of light when they break it, I guess. And I'm looking forward to having an additional conversation with her relevant to that, because I am just not entirely sure that I fully grasped everything she was trying to get across in that. But I also bought that DVD. And you can order them too, if I'm not mistaken, at contactinthedesert.com. And I would strongly suggest it because the information that was shared throughout this entire conference was just truly fascinating. I was so fortunate. You know, it's not something that you should take lightly, being able to do these things. And I followed up with some interview time and some visits, and I picked back up with Eric von Daniken. I've got to tell you, I was not sure what to anticipate. He was brilliant. He had photographs. He had everything relevant to his experiences. He was someone who knew his stuff, and he was able to get it across with his just brilliant discussion. I was just amazed. I took notes through this and just absolutely couldn't believe the experience and knowledge that this man has and was so able to share. And the bravery of going into these little tunnels, little tiny areas down under these pyramids. The man's ferocious, absolutely ferocious. And I got to tell you, I just thought he was amazing. And I'm so fortunate that I was able to see him, because he's it. He's the one. He started this entire study off. He is the person who, for better or for worse, has fascinated the globe for all these years. Chariot of the Gods was the kickoff. That was the first shot. That was what brought people into an awareness of what was happening and what they wanted to see, what they needed to know, and everything about them. It was just brilliant. I was so fortunate. The pictures that he brought were of inside the pyramid. There was one with the lake underneath. Several of them, come to find out, have lakes underneath. And it was just way too cool. I learned so much. And this was from 9:15 to 10:45. I mean, my whole world was rocked during that time frame. It was amazing. But, gosh, there was a fantastic mixer afterwards, and that was cool. I didn't get to see everyone I would have liked to, because they were being held up. People were fascinated. Jimmy Church was doing a live show, and anyone who knows me knows that I am a huge Jimmy Church fan. He is somebody who I think does one of the best jobs of any radio broadcaster, except George Norrie, and he fills in for him. But Jimmy does a good job. His fans are amazing. They were so much fun. And it was just a really, really neat experience for me, because you know what? You learn at the master's feet, right? So I'm working on that. The next day was an absolute treat too. It was something that I didn't expect. I didn't really know what to think. I went to the science of UFOs, technology, and the quantum field. And that was hosted by Clyde Lewis. And that panel was very diverse. I mean, very diverse. You had Clyde Lewis, obviously hosting, Michael Sala, Linda Moulton Howe, Mike Barra, JJ and Desiree Hurtak, and Adam Curry. Those are some very widespread opinions, if you are familiar with these people. You have everything from the absolute mystical, purely, alien contact, and you love everybody and everything is love, which is a great way to be. I agree with that. But then you went over and you had the people who are science, and there's an alien agenda, and you have all these things happening, and if it's not a bad thing, why is your government not being honest with you? And do we really expect to see anything come of disclosure? And so there you are. You're sitting there going, well, this is interesting. This is from both sides. You know? And it's just not something that seems to mesh well together. That's why that panel fascinated me. I knew most of those speakers, and I knew their opinions, and I wanted to see how they came together. And I was right. It was interesting. So after that, to let things cool down a little bit, I actually went to see Mike Barra. Mike is somebody I follow and chat with on Facebook. He's a very interesting man. The information that he had was something that most people would consider, I don't know. Well, I do know. And he documents, and his opinions are that. They're his opinions. But he's very open, and he's very honest with what he believes he's seeing in NASA documentation. The photographs alone are just really interesting. And then you had the whole experience with the objects that are seen. And then you have the experience of hearing someone who spends a lot of time researching this and going through files and going through photos and going through videos. He was awesome. I left there going, man, I am going to have to talk to this guy some more. And I'm going to have to pay more attention. I have not yet heard the big NASA reveal today because I have been 200 miles an hour. We just got home yesterday, and I was planning to get this show rolling, and we have presentations to do this weekend and grandchildren. So I have not been that focused on what's happening with NASA. Don't tell me. I'll find it. But, you know, there were so many people. I was able to see Corey Good. And Corey is someone who had reached out to me on LinkedIn. And I wasn't familiar with him, or not too familiar. And that was tough too, because, you know, you had an amazing Ancient Aliens, the Best Evidence that George Norrie was hosting. You had Billy Carson, who was lecturing, Freddie Silva, and workshops as well. But I chose Corey because I'd been hearing a lot of buzz about him. I knew he had reached out to me, and I knew that he was supposed to be very unusual in his experiences. And his presentation was amazing. He was quite blunt. He was someone that I shared with y'all last week before I left, having been involved in the secret space program and the My Lab as a child, 6 years old. From 6 years old on. And when I'm sitting there thinking these things, and I'm watching him, and I'm watching his interaction with his audience, and I'm watching his audience interact with him and react to his experiences, I wasn't the only one touched. He was brilliant in his presentation, frightening in his information, to be blunt. It's not something I'm interested in experiencing myself. He was just very neat. So I'm so glad I attended that Corey Good lecture. And I actually sent him a message and said, you know, you're brilliant. Yes, I would like to talk to you later. So hopefully I will hear back from him soon, and y'all will hear him as well. Definitely worth seeing that video. And, you know, then it was all the things. It was Giorgio, then Michael Sala, workshops. But I chose the disclosure panel hosted by Stephen Bassett. And man, is he brilliant, seriously. But the members of that panel were Congressman Merrill Cook, Nick Pope, Richard Dolan, Grant Cameron, Daniel Sheehan, Whitley Strieber, Linda Moulton Howe, Peter Levenda, and Dr. Joe Buckman. Talk about a loaded group with amazing talent and knowledge and research abilities, right? So this was really something that blew me away. From the opening statement by Stephen till the end of the panel, it was nothing but Q&A. And they were lining us up as they began the introductions. And I was fortunate I got to have the second question. It was, we keep hearing these things from, Side A, which is cosmic consciousness, which I do believe in. And, love is the answer. We get these downloads. Information comes from somewhere, not us. And yet you have all these, I don't know if you heard the show with Grant Cameron, but musicians and authors and inventors all receive downloads of information that they use to advance their research. They don't know where it comes from. They just know it shows up. It's interesting to hear musicians talk about that. But then you have the side of, again, alien agenda. If it's not bad, why are they hiding it? Why don't we get to talk to the people who are in the know about this thing? Why do people disappear? What is going to happen when the government has to acknowledge this? And with that being said, we're going to take just a couple of minute break, and I'll be right back to tell you about that.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
And we're back. Hey there. I was talking about that disclosure panel, and I have to tell you that some of the questions that were handed out there were just amazing. I was so blown away that that was how they handled that. I mean, I think it was difficult because you don't know what's coming, right? And yet they did such a fantastic job. They did a truly fantastic job. The questions ranged from mine, which was, which way is this going to go? Why are these sides not working together? There seems to be a lot of just not working. Just not working. And the agreement was that, yeah, that seems to be the case too. And so we'll see. But that was absolutely from 4:30 to 6:15 of nothing but Q&A. That's definitely one to get a CD of. And then, there were always the dinner breaks and the lunch breaks and the, take care and do things. And that night, I had an opportunity to go to the speakers banquet and award ceremony. It was hosted by George Norrie, and there were 14 speakers there. I sat with the D'Souza's, of course, and got to spend that time with them as well. And unbeknownst to her, Linda Moulton Howe received a Lifetime Achievement Award, and she was blown off the water. It was amazing. I had such a good time there. The speakers were terrific. The music was great. A lot of it included George, who, goodness gracious, if he ever decides not to be a radio host, he could be a crooner. He was amazing. So that was really terrific, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The whole experience, like I said, was just absolutely astounding. I was fortunate. But on Sunday, most people think that Sunday is the wind down day, right? Not so with this event. Everyone was still right up there having a good time and doing their things. And Sasha and Janet Lesson are people that I enjoyed a great deal. They were fascinating. Their lecture, Did Extraterrestrials Create Our Species and Set Our Agenda? Did they leave and have they returned? Well, I was blown away. The presentation was not exactly what I anticipated, but it was brilliant. I have so many thoughts on this, and a lot of you know that, yes, I am a ghost hunting side of the paranormal. I'm a paranormal investigator. And for me to be as open, or have the opportunities open for me to be able to attend these events, is just fantastic. I mean, my mind gets opened every time one of them opens their mouth. I am fortunate to be able to have a chance to interview and speak with these people and just get to learn. I mean, I spent 4 days learning and gaining information to be able to bring back to my listeners, and hopefully be able to bring some of these people onto this program so that y'all will have the benefit of that. I mean, it is just amazing. And Sasha and Janet, they were fascinating, because I don't always think that freely, and they are. They are well respected, very knowledgeable, and have some fantastic ideas that they are so happy to share. If you have the chance, you really should see them too. But that was probably one of my favorites as well. And then from 9 to 10:50, was really cool. It was the Contact Experience panel, and that one was hosted by someone I admire greatly, Whitley Strieber. It included James Gilliland, Yvonne Smith, Sasha and Janet Lesson, Jason Quitt, Travis Walton, Robert Perala, and Alan Steinfeld. And that was almost frightening, truly, because every one of them had been through their experiences, and some of them were most intense. Obviously the experience by Travis was pretty astounding, and probably the most well documented and most well known. But a very long time ago, my friend Annie Perrin told me that I needed to read Whitley Strieber's book Communion, and that if I hadn't yet, what was I waiting on? I wonder where I got that phrase, right? Well, I read that, and I read Breakthrough, which was the follow-up. And Whitley's experience was just intense and frightening. He is, in my opinion, one of the bravest people I know, because he actually still communicates via contact. He has a device in his ear. He has all kinds of information. The things that he went through would make a lesser man just give up. And he didn't. He sought answers. He still seeks communication. He still seeks rational explanations. Alan Steinfeld, Robert Perala, all of these people, Yvonne Smith. I did not realize that this many people were going to be discussing their personal interaction with aliens. And it was fascinating. James Gilliland. I am so glad that I bought this DVD, because it just was something else to see and to listen to. You had someone who, Jason Quitt, is someone who actively seeks contact. And I found that amazing. I don't know that I would be that brave. It just is cool. And when you hear them talk and you hear them reminisce, you can see them going back and experiencing it again. And that it just blew my mind. It was really, truly a great, great panel. And then after that, I was fortunate enough to actually make it into Grant Cameron's lecture. It was Alien UFO Disclosure. It was brilliant. And I just learned that he is going to be doing a radio show on another network with a lot of my heroes. They're on the other side. KGRA. If you're on the other side of the Mississippi, you start with a K. And it was a lot of what we discussed when he was on the show. It was the cosmic consciousness, collective consciousness. I totally believe in that. I get answers to questions all the time, whether it's in a dream state or if I'm just sitting there saying, okay, I need help with this. This is not working for me. And it's like 10 minutes later, boom. I think my favorite story of his is when someone was driving down the highway and a song kept coming into their head, and they needed that. They were a professional musician and songwriter, and there was no way to take it down. And the person just said, can you see me? I'm driving right now. You're going to have to bring this back to me later. I really want it, but I can't write it down. And they did. Go figure. So that was pretty pretty something else. And, with the exception of a couple of these people, I really worked hard to listen to the people who were less in the public eye. Grant obviously is, John obviously is, the panels were, but I tried to see people that really weren't getting a lot of airtime in places and that I thought people would be interested in knowing about, and give them a chance to get that information out. And it was just way too neat. Then Peter Levenda's lecture, Conspiracy Theories and UFOlogy, Tom DeLonge and the Deep State. I have a problem with, not with Peter, obviously, because he was brilliant and his information was fantastic and out there and beautifully laid out. But I have a problem with the Deep State being involved in disclosure. I guess I just don't think that they're that interested in hooking a sister up with that information, right? But he was brilliant. And he actually made me think that probably I should pay attention to that more. I just have a problem with a rock star as somebody who left the CIA one day and was with, To the Stars the next. But I've been wrong before. Then Linda Moulton Howe's lecture, The Threat of Weaponized Artificial Intelligence. If you have not heard this lecture, you need to do just that. Linda Moulton Howe is one of the most brilliant researchers I have ever read. Her work is detailed. She has done it for decades. Her sourcing is impeccable and knowledgeable. Her contacts are out of this world. I mean, everybody trusts her. The night that she won her award, I didn't go up to her because she had someone sitting with her who was obviously sharing something very important. And I wasn't going to interrupt. Nobody should interrupt that. I mean, that's what she does. And she's brilliant at it. So, thank God for her. This threat of weaponized artificial intelligence lecture is downright frightening. Elon Musk says 4 years. 4 years until basically it is starting to develop its own consciousness. And that until it's able to do everything, till it's replacing employees even more than it is already. Be careful what you wish for when you're having the chance, because fast food isn't going to pay $15 an hour. Fast food is going to go automated. They're already doing it at McDonald's. It's a great thought to go to $15 an hour. Probably not going to happen. But, I also was able to attend Whitley Strieber's workshop. And that was so informative. It was a little freaky because of his experience in dealing with who he calls the visitors. The workshop was titled Deep Contact Life with the Visitors. And I actually had to go up to him afterwards because he did a meditation at the end in which you were able to expand. And I do that when I'm investigating. If there's people around, I have the ability to shield myself, and I can shield others by expanding that. He was teaching to push that light out to become a beacon, and it's effective, just so you know. It's something that actually made me ponder a bit because I wasn't real sure what I thought of that. And I went up to talk to him about it because it was so effective. I was not comfortable. It was just freaky. But it worked. I was very impressed. And it was just a really terrific thing. So there you go. It was cool. It was fascinating. That whole day was weird and fascinating in the very best of ways. And, I just can't tell you how cool it is to have been able to experience that. So, thank goodness, right? I am so excited because I'm going to be attending AlienCon next week. And that is traditionally there've been one. It was cool. It was interesting. It was not quite what Contact is. They're a whole different type of experience. It was just cool. But relevant to the Contact in the Desert, when they got through, they weren't through, right? These people are brilliant. Even on Sunday, there were opportunities to do workshops. I mean, there were intensives, and people were so fortunate. Richard Dolan did one. Linda Moulton Howe did one. The whole experience was just amazing. And they lasted all the way through, they lasted all the way through to the evening. It was just an amazing thing. And I was lucky to be able to get to see those. I actually left, drove up into the Joshua Tree, got a tire that was leaking everything, and then I was lucky that I just kind of made it, right? It was just absolutely God's hand, or my panic, but I got a park ranger to stop, and I found out that I only had 12 miles to go, and I was going to be safe. I went from 22 pounds and then air in my tire down to 10 by the time I got to the tire place he had told me about. It was absolutely freaky. But there you go. It's one of those things that you didn't know. And thank heavens for it. So I just want to thank everyone involved in Contact in the Desert. Their volunteers were astounding. They knew everything. They were able to help. They were guides, and here you go, and you do this, and we'll do that. And everything's going to be fantastic. And it was. I just couldn't believe that I had the opportunity to attend this. And Victoria and Peter, Bonnie and Susan, and all the people that I interacted with directly, thank you so very much. Victoria and Peter are the organizers of this event. They're brilliant, and they made sure that everything worked. I can't imagine trying to put that on. The talent they have, the patience of their speakers, the patience of their guests. This is a family. Everyone who goes to this is part of a family. Even even me, when I made a point to go and find Victoria after the luncheon to tell her, thank you, I appreciate this, it was wonderful. She just looked at me and she said, you know what? You're part of the family. You're one of us now. And it sounded a whole lot like, resistance is futile, right? But I'm just kidding. I loved her. She was so calm. Everything worked. Just a lovely woman. And Peter was great. I can't tell you how much I would suggest taking advantage of that opportunity. So it's just cool. And I am lucky. So we're going to take a little break here. And I'm not sure that the stream is picking this up, but I know that the show is. So thank you so much. We'll be right back.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
And we're back. So I am sitting here thinking that, I'm going to AlienCon in 2 weeks, but before that, I am going to be one of the people who are actually getting a chance to do a presentation at the Magic City Con. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be workshops, a tabletop game room, a video game lounge, everything. A kid con, cosplay, different special events. There's an artist alley. There's band tables and dealers. There's all kinds of stuff that's going to be happening with that. And I am so looking forward to it because I did this last year as a member of my team, Scare of Alabama, and had a ball. It was so much fun. They actually let us be able to do this panel in rather a small room, and it's the first time that I've done a panel that people got turned away from because of seating. Standing room only, people stuck out in the back, and that was okay because everybody was able to ask questions afterwards. We were pretty open. And Ladarius Young is a member of my team. He is brilliant. He's an empath. He's a fantastic paranormal investigator. It's just a good time whenever he's around. And he is actually going to be coordinating the media, social media for this. He has a business, and it's called Shout Out World. And he does a fantastic job. They're known everywhere. So I'm looking forward to it. And if he gets a chance, he's going to be calling in later. And he can tell us even more than I can because, quite honestly, I am not up on gaming. I do know that I love the chess sets that have all the wizards and things. And I know that when I see Loki, who he is, and I know when I see Thor, that's who I cheer for, right? But I think that participating with Magic City Con is one of the most fortunate events that our team has gotten to experience. They are always open, full of ideas. They have cosplay guests, they have guest artists, and I didn't know who these people were 2 years ago. So it's always nice when you can expand that mind, crack it open just a bit. Because to go from paranormal investigator, that's it, that's what I do, to, you know what? Someone told me when I was on another network once that we need a ufology show. And I said, well, most of the people that I've talked to who do these are not mainstream enough, I don't think. I don't think people would listen to them. The people I knew I was right about. But with getting knowledge and reading and going to the events such as this, my education and knowledge in this field is growing. And it only works to enhance my paranormal investigation as well because they are related. A lot of people are not that aware of that that being the case, but it is. And I was first shown that by Linda Moulton Howe. And she is someone I respect and someone I listen to. So there's that. But I think that it's interesting because she feels that cryptids are part of that too. I'm interested in cryptids. I've never been on an investigation for Bigfoot. I have experienced different kinds of lights. Thomas Divide lights. Butch Wachowski, if you're listening, Brown Mountain lights. Hello. Tick, tick. Kidding. But we're supposed to do an expedition there. But I think that all of this is so related. And people are kind of afraid to say that for some reason. I don't know why. But if you go to the interdimensional aspect and look at it that way, then yeah, you can see that. If you're not into the interdimensional thing, I just didn't know how you could do that. How could this possibly all be the same thing without it being interdimensional? But it's interesting. It's pretty cool. The whole concept is something that if I ever get Linda on here, we will have her discuss. But I don't really have any idea of what Bigfoot would be if he's here all the time. He is jam up at hide and seek, is all I can say. But I have a friend, Jonathan Odom, who says that he knows where a family unit lives here in Alabama. So I trust him. He is not a crazy person. He is brilliant and knowledgeable. I would believe that. I just don't know where they are when people go looking for them. How do they hide so well? Why is there not more evidence gathered? I mean, I know there is some. I know. that there's scat and there's fur fibers. When I spoke with Chase Glotsky about this, she said, well, there's tons of evidence, but people don't take it seriously. Why not? If it's real, why not? I had the chance to interview the mountain monsters when I was at Scarefest last year. And when they were on my review show at Halloween, people were amazed by them. Absolutely fascinated. Because, yeah, they're dramatic. Yes, they are out there as far as personalities go. And yes, I actually have watched their show. So I do kind of know that. But people just think that there's no evidence, and those guys have found some. Those guys, while not mainstream, are doing research. And their television personas and their television work aside, they are serious researchers. And I like them. I think they're smart. I think they're gifted at what they do. And it's going to be interesting to see. So, anyway, there's that. But I know that we have people in chat. Oh, yes, I hope I'll be at Scarefest this year. I've already spoken with the media coordinators and the owners, so we'll see what happens. They liked the coverage I provided, and I actually had someone want to buy and promote them using my videos from the black carpet walk. So we'll see what happens with that. I wasn't really sure that I would want to sell that because that's kind of up to them if they want that done. But it was interesting because I was flattered. But that's coming up, and if you're looking for tickets, that's going to be available too. This is the season, right? There's so many things in August. You've got the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and that is put on by Pam and Steve Berry. That is the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. Oh, and I think this is Ladarius. Let's see. Hello there. Hi, this is Ladarius Young. Hi, Ladarius. You are on the thing. You're on the thing. Well, it's showing that they are not hearing you. Let me see what's going on with that. They are not at this moment, and I'm not sure why, but hang on. Now say something, Ladarius. Nope, you're not. I don't know. I'm working on that. Whoops. I have a mystery cloak. But you should be here. You should. Oh, really? He has a guy dressed up as the Joker next to him, y'all. They can hear me. I don't know why they're not picking you up. I don't know. I'm showing you. Let's see. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Okay. Now say something. Alrighty. Well, this is another one of those things that worked beautifully about an hour and a half ago, so just bear with me a second here and let me figure out what's going on with it. Because we're actually at our top of the hour break, so we're going to be going and taking care of doing that. And let's see. Well, we get a break at the top of the hour. So, and for y'all who are wondering, why on earth is she just sitting there talking to herself? I'm not. I have Ladarius Young, who is my friend and fellow investigator, on the line with me. And for some reason, I am not pulling his Skype through. So I'm working on that. And we're going to take this little break, and I hope you absolutely enjoy this. It's actually called Crying Guitar. We'll be back in a moment. This is You know what? I am back, and I am having all the troubles trying to get Ladarius in here with us. Maybe I should try to call you. Let me try that. Worth an effort. I'll call you right back. All right. So, everyone, I am trying to get Ladarius in, and I'm having issues with that. So, I am going to give it one more shot because he is worth you hearing. He's brilliant. So, let's give it a shot. We'll see what happens. I'm not seeing anything looking like it's going to work. So that's very frustrating because he is so amazing. But I got no idea what to do, and I think my tech guy is at work. So I'm going to work on this just for a second. But in the meantime, I do want to let you know about the Magic City Con. This is going to be just fantastic. It's in Birmingham, hence the Magic City. And it's June 8th through 10th this weekend at the Hyatt Regency, Birmingham. And that is actually the old Winfrey Hotel. I believe it still goes by that. But this is so much fun. They have so much happening. Their schedule is just amazing. And here's Ladarius trying again. Let's see what happens. Hi, Ladarius. Well, it rang a few times and it just simply was not having it. So I'm not sure what to do. They still can't hear you, which is sad. Because I have been so excited about all the things that you were going to tell them, and I've got my calendar pulled up, but it's just not the same as having the media guy for the whole caboodle do it. Because we've got all these panels that are going to be going on, and I actually love this. Are you smarter than a Templar? And I just don't know. It's familiar game shows with a Dragon Age twist, and I am not sure that I have any idea how to even outsmart a Templar. So, a Templar? A Knights Templar? Well, I'm going to tell you, shame on you. He just said that he doesn't know what a Knights Templar is. So that, this is something that they came up with. And I'm sitting there having this discussion with him just like y'all can hear this. So, well, he says that he hates that he can't come through because he's so excited to talk to y'all and he wishes that there were another way. And we are trying to find that other way. So we just haven't found it quite yet. But we're working on it. So, well, I don't think so because I don't have my phone routed through here. I'm supposed to have my Skype routed through here, but I have just sent a message to my tech guy. And it's Frank Lee, and you know how good he is. We've got another hour. He has got another hour. If you'll give me a minute to get this sent, I will try to call you back. I will because people need to hear you, Ladarius. You are just rocking and you are so fantastic at this. So, well, you go pay a tab. I'll chat about Alien Con and I will see what responses I get from Frank. But I will talk to you later either way. All right. Thanks, my friend. All right. Bye. Well, that is just a drat thing, right? because this guy knows everything there is to know about Magic City Con. He is moving on up in their echelon. He's brilliant. And I've got to tell you, we got to... In chat, we have someone that says, holler at Frank. But I guess he's at work. Well, just so you know, I hollered at Frank. If we can get Ladarius on here, he can make it happen. But I do want to tell y'all something about this. You know, all these cons that they have in different places, some are just ghastly money, and others are reasonable. Magic City Con, $35 for adult weekend passes. Weekend. And there's a military discount available. So I think that's terrific. And, there's a kickoff that is going to be happening. And that's going to be Friday. And I just realized that we're supposed to be there by 10 or 10:30. And I'm so excited. They're going to have multiple panels. You heard me mention the Are You Smarter Than a Templar? And Ladarius had no idea what that was. He's so funny. He probably does. And then a panel discussion about the world of Remnant Abridged and Hamilton lip sync battle. That would be fun. Then designing that ultimate cosplay with RJ Hattie. And that's a sequel to the cosplay consultation. It's a hands-on workshop where you will go in depth with RJ about your cosplay. That one is a separate $20 fee, and that includes a selfie and one personal item autographed by RJ. So then you have Clinton Hobart painting demo, and he is actually a guest artist. He'll be painting throughout the weekend during demos on each day. And on Sunday, his final masterpiece will be given away in a drawing at the closing ceremonies. He is something else. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but Clinton Hobart, check him out. That's one of the main things I love about this. You know, with Alien Con and with this cosplay and fantasy things, the art is just astounding. You know, you have such creativity showing up and making the rounds, and it's so neat to see. I just find it fascinating. But then you have all these nifty things happening. It's just bizarre. So I'm going to try something here. You're going to hear maybe a little clicking, and I'm going to apologize in advance for that. And I think I found what my problem is with Ladarius. I am going to make a couple of changes here and see what happens. And I know that I'm saying "and" a lot. I'm trying to break that habit. I've never done it before. All of a sudden, it seems to be all I say. So this too will pass. I'm certain of that. I am searching diligently through these settings, and bear with me. Y'all are so awesome. This is my first time trying to have a Skype guest, and I used to be really uptight about all this stuff, but I figured that I am doing not too shabby for someone who has never, ever had to do this before. Most people get like a 2-year minimum degree, and I've been trying to find classes in it without the 2-year. And so far, my class has been Jim Mallard. I'm so glad for Jim Mallard. I just have to tell you, I have got some friends who are amazing people, and thank God for them. And it's just like, I don't even know why you're helping me like this. So I got to say thanks. And I'm not seeing the setting I'm looking for. I'm just sitting here sending messages back and forth. But while I'm trying to figure this out, we're not going to stop because this event is going to be astounding. The after Clinton, then there's going to be a podcasting / audio drama, and I'm going to that. In this Q&A panel, you will learn tips and tricks on how to make a good podcast or audio drama. And there's a lot of those happening. It's just way too cool. I am always amazed by just how powerful these people are in their drama presentations. And it takes so much creativity and imagination and just plain absolute gumption because it's just cool. I'm always fascinated. Then this is cool. They're going to have Star Trek Discovery. Panelists will discuss and take questions about the all-new Star Trek Discovery series, and I'm here to tell you that my husband is geeking out, totally drinking out, and I kind of am too. Not that I get carried away, whatever, but that's okay because I love Star Trek. Look at all the things we have that came from Star Trek. I mean, was Gene Roddenberry downloading or what? You have the tricorder. That's a flip phone. You have all the little wand things that the doctors used. And basically, they carried all their information on iPads, right? So, it's just cool. Just amazing. It's just a neat thing. So, I don't know. Where would we have been without him, right? He was like the guiding force in getting so much done. Now, if they could just finish with the teleportation. I'm working, waiting. But then, this is interesting too. It says, have you ever been interested in joining the bad guys doing good in the 501st or the good guys doing gooder in the Rebel Legion? Join us for this informative panel. We will discuss how to join, what the legions do here in Alabama as well as worldwide, and more. And I didn't even know what this was last year. So, there you go. Then they have D&D creative writing, and I'm going to tell you that I did not know Dungeons and Dragons was still a thing. Big bang, and I had a lot of friends who played when we were younger, but it's not something I ever was really well versed in, and I find it fascinating. This actually is tips and tricks to writing a good homebrew campaign for Dungeons and Dragons. Also, how to develop characters and monsters for your worlds. If you're a creative writer, this would be great, even if you don't do D&D. And then, this is important, and this I think is probably one of the biggest ideas, and I just lost it. But basically, it's how to stay safe. It's okay not to be okay. It's a discussion on staying safe in the cosplay community and working together as a community to prevent harassment. That's huge because some of the costumes are so very should be in a cartoon, not on someone walking around, but they are walking around, and people have a right to play. They don't have a right to be harassed, and you don't have a right to harass them. So I think that's an important part of this presentation. And then, are you looking for information on cosplay and what it is? Never cosplayed before but want to try it? Maybe you've done some, but don't know other cosplayers. That leads to all kinds of ideas, right? Then come and join us as we discuss all things cosplay. So, I just think that sounds like it's going to be a good time all the way around. This whole experience is Knights of the Old Republic 15th Anniversary Party. Play both versions of Pazak and celebrate the game that started the BioWare Star Wars universe. How cool is that, right? And then All About Fallout's John Hancock with Danny Shirago. Join Danny Shirago for a discussion and Q&A and learn everything there is to know about your favorite ghoul from Fallout 4. I don't do this stuff, okay? And I'm excited about it. I think this is going to be so amazing. Then discuss the most up-to-date news on all things Marvel, from movies to TV shows. I would nail that. If they had trivia on that, I'd win. So, I actually have a card that says, I'm an Avenger. Yeah, that's right. I went to training. Vegas is great. So, knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe with John Anderson and Ming Chen. Yo, Joe, let's talk about all things G.I. Joe in this epic panel discussion with John Anderson and Ming Chen. Ooh, here be Infinity War spoilers. Yeah, I said spoilers. A panel discussing Infinity War Part 1, what we know about Part 2, the comic art, and more. And I gotta tell ya, Food Challenge noodles? Yeah. In this insanely spicy noodle challenge panel, whoever finishes their noodles first will win a prize. You have to sign a waiver to participate in this. I don't know. This is something I think would be fun too. Learning improv comedy. Whose line is it anyway? Come and tickle your funny bone in this panel as a participant or an observer, and that will be in the Maid Cafe. I just can't tell you. You know, people kind of, if you're not into this, you don't get it. I'm not into it, and I totally get it. I love having the opportunity to learn and play and just enjoy everything. You know, it's just really way too cool when you actually sit there and you see that people are having fun, that people are enjoying their imaginations. There was one panel that is horns and headdresses with Roy Woolley. In this demo, you'll learn how to create a headdress from scratch. Horn and other elaborate headdresses are the topic. Patterns, fabrication, finishes, and fitting are all covered in this workshop. It's only a $20 fee. And I have a friend, Shane, who actually does set design and I would assume some costume design and such for shows like Vampire Diaries and such. This is creativity out the wazoo. And I think that it's giving you a chance to channel some sort of other experience for yourself. You know, you're not locked in. You can actually just run with it. Let that free association work for you, because it is adamantly a personal thing. All about the people. So I think that anybody would be fortunate to be able to do this. So just me. You know, there's not a whole lot of difference between opening up and being free enough with yourself to do this and opening up and being free enough with yourself to go to some of these other events that I see. You know, Alien Con, the first year, while it was a bit of a mess because they had so many more people than they anticipated, they were partnered with Famous Monsters and Cosmic Con, which is the event side of Famous Monsters. It was brilliant. It was fun. It was interesting. I saw costumes that I had never seen before. I had no idea. We had a masquerade ball. It was, a great time. So, when you're with monsters, you dress as a monster, right? vampire. So I just think it's fun and important to realize that all of these different things are not separate. The same mindset goes into all of the experiences, whether it's the paranormal, and you're open enough to put yourself out there on the line as a paranormal investigator trying to gather evidence and information and then share that, to being a ufologist dealing with, heavens knows what, and putting yourself out there and gathering information and trying to actually source what this is that you're dealing with. You have to have the creativity, the imagination, the good ethics, the work ethic, the research skills, and just the gumption to show up and do these things. It's amazing. And the same thing with the cosplay, because there's a lot of information out there that people don't realize is fed by these other fields of study. So I think it's just terrific. There's also going to be on Friday night a chance to listen to some great music in Merck's Tavern for the musical musings of Mark Gunn. It's the best Irish pub music, and we're talking pipes and all kinds of fun things. It's going to be astounding. And that's just Friday, right? I do need to let you know that you are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is Paranormal Experience Radio, and I'm Kat Hobson, your host. And, this is just way too much fun. I'm amazed that, how to get started making comics. Talk to artists and writers of indie comics about what you need to know how to write, illustrate, and print your own comics. I met a guy there last year, Daniel Emery, and he is a movie producer and director. He's his own casting agent. He has done brilliant work. We became friends. I see all the stuff that he does online. And, he asked me once why I follow him. I said, because I find it fascinating to watch you work, and you never know where you're going to need a little old lady paranormal investigator that's into all this weird stuff in one of your films. So there's that. But let's see. We have all the things. I actually am just astounded because I have been to this and I didn't realize that it was such a big deal. We are going to be doing a presentation also. We are the paranormal side of this event. My team, Scare of Alabama, has authors. We have Ladarius, who is so into the social media side of things and just a busy man. He's also a chef, just saying. But, he is an empath. We have Kim Johnston, who is an author. One of her books was the actual season opener for Paranormal Witness a couple of years ago, and it was freaky. But it was the Voodoo Preacher episode. Excuse me. And she's an empath and sensitive. She'll be there. Kevin Kane, who is a haunted doll collector and author as well. He has written several books, not all about his dolls. He is a great storyteller, just a raconteur. And he's going to be participating. And then there's me. And goodness only knows what I am, right? But definitely sensitive, sometimes psychic. I just get shown things. And it's just an amazing thing. Plus, I've been a paranormal investigator for eons, so that's fun too. But there's a Degrees of Separation, Kevin Smith edition, and Mystery Science Theater 3000, the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's just fun, good stuff. You know, there's What It Takes to Work at a Haunted House, basic character creation, and how to scare. And you know what? I used to do that. I worked for Atrox as a volunteer, and I am a good monster, just so you know. But H.P. Lovecraft is the father of the genre, but cosmic horror has grown beyond short stories into games, movies, and comics. What great cosmic horror comics are out there? What should you pick up next? I don't do horror, but I'm a great monster, right? And then Dragon Age Murder Mystery Dinner. Now, how fun is that? Seriously? I just think that overall, this whole thing is going to be amazing. And if you're seeking a paranormal connection, it's not Chip, but it's still Coffee Talk. Join Magic City Con's con runners as they host various guests and talk about various topics. I mean, seriously, just a good time. And I so hate that we could not get Ladarius in here, because he is brilliant, he is funny, he is irreverent in the very best way. And he's just a great person and somebody I am proud to call my friend. So there's that. But at any rate, I just have to tell y'all that I'm having a good time. I hope you are. This is totally off topic, right? For what we normally do. But I figure if they can show up for us, we can show up for them. And I am going to take a moment and we are going to play a little music and be right back.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
And here we are. I am so excited to be doing this show tonight because I have to tell you, I just learned how to put the Skype call through, possibly. But I am not going to interrupt Ladarius because I'm certain he's at dinner by now. And I'm thrilled just to be able to share this experience about the Contact in the Desert 2018, which, oh my God, it was amazing. I have never really been to an event like that. And it was different from the event in Eureka Springs, that Ozark Mountain UFO conference. Their 31st year. They've done this forever. They do a great job. Brilliant. And then this was only the 6th year of Contact in the Desert, which is amazing. This was their first year not to be in the city of Joshua Tree. They were in a resort environment, which meant comfort. The first few years were not based on comfort, but now it's grown so much that they really needed a larger facility, and they met that need. So it was terrific. I like resorts, but I would have liked to experience Joshua Tree too, because I think that it gave a sense of community that was even stronger because of the environment that they worked through. It's just a special group of people. Never seen anything quite like it. Then you have AlienCon, which is going to be having a second experience. And when I was speaking with Giorgio, he was kind of surprised that I had been there that first year. And I was like, well, of course I was. I was thrilled to be there. And it was just too many people. You know, they were overwhelmed simply by the numbers. And I didn't realize he had been an event coordinator in the past life. He's brilliant. I was actually really impressed with him and enjoyed the conversation greatly. But when he was discussing that, I don't think anyone really realized what a phenomenon Ancient Aliens was at that time. This is almost 2 years ago, easily a year and a half. And they actually thought they'd get 3,000 people. They had over 10,000. So it made it not quite the experience people had hoped for. But again, you're having growing pains. You're going through the experience. You're coming together as a group. And I think that the people at this year's event, who were at the first, are going to be quite impressed. And they'll always have their, man, you should have seen the first one stories. It still was great. The information was still terrific. The whole experience with getting to meet Nick Pope and Linda Moulton Howe, George Norrie, and his brilliant producer. I mean, Tommy Danhauser is a producer like no other. He does a great job. And he also shares in a lot of the experiences with George when they're out in the field. And some of the things they've seen are astounding. But the people who were there, who were willing to give up the panel rooms to come out into the exhibition hall so they could reach everyone they could with all the information they had. You know, they dealt with less than perfect audio at times. The acoustics were not what you get in a panel room. You know, a nice little room geared just for what you're doing. They did it anyway. They brought everything they were going to share in those cozy little panel rooms into this huge environment so that they could reach their fans, their knowledge seekers. They were excited to be able to share, to do what had to happen to make that work. And it was just terrific. And it was even better, I think, because of the issues. You know, you had all these people. It was also my first time meeting Dee, who is the mom from E.T., but she was brilliant. She's a light worker. She is a wonderful human, and she thoroughly enjoys being able to meet people that she can help. I mean, how can you beat that? The people who were going through the vendors were amazing. I met some of the best artists. I got my picture taken with a guy who was dressed as Data. These people were terrific and hilarious. And I wouldn't have traded that experience for anything. And not only that, that experience was why I had an opportunity to interview Jim Mars. I've never been so excited as I was when I got an email from his publicist saying Jim would like to come on. Holy cow, right? I mean, what a fantastic life I have. This network is going to grow. This show hasn't changed a bit. It's just in a different place, and we're going through growth spurts, kind of like AlienCon did. But I have no doubt that because of the passion that Shelley and myself and other hosts who are going to be here bring to their audiences, that we're going to continue to grow and continue and just get better and better. And I think it's going to be wonderful. I love what I do. I have the opportunity to speak to some of the greatest names in every aspect of the paranormal. One of the people in chat just said, I'm glad you got to hang out with George Norrie and John D'Souza. I am too. They're my friends. And how lucky is that? I am one of the most blessed women on the planet. And it's because of my listeners and because of my guests. And it's because of my husband and my family. And, you know, there's just not enough words to say thank you to everyone who listens to this show and will be listening to the other shows coming. And you know what? You just rock and you're appreciated. So, thank you. But we just had a question about the Magic City Con. It is here in Birmingham, Alabama, at the Galleria Hotel. It's called the Winfrey Hotel. It is actually, I'm looking for the real name of it. It is the Hyatt Regency Birmingham, which is the Winfrey Hotel, which is at the Galleria, which means that, you know, you shop till you drop and then go and do your panels. But it's just amazing. Everything is pretty much, well, some of it. The dealer rooms are closing fairly early, 8, 6, and 4 on various days. But the tabletop game room and the video game lounge, those are open till midnight, and on Sunday till 5. I just can't even imagine. Well, I don't know. I could have probably done Mario Brothers until midnight. So, it's all good. But I am thankful to be able to do this panel. When we did it last year, it was so much fun. And I met so many interesting people. I learned a little bit about cosplay. They have a panel on cosplay etiquette, which is a fun and interactive panel with Alice Infinity and friends. Learn how to properly interact with cosplayers, or how to properly act at conventions, all while having lots of fun and getting your fill of laughs. You don't really think about etiquette with this, right? But there's a certain standard that you need to be holding yourself to. And it should be interesting. So, the discussing movies with the Deuce Cast movie show, and that is an open discussion. about movies with them, with the Newscast movie show hosts. And I just cannot tell you how much fun this is going to be. There's actually a Star Wars pool party, too. I wonder how many cinnamon bun hairdos are going to be there that night. I wonder if those would last. Something to ponder. You know, it's really weird when you're having these experiences and you go into all this little, free flow thought. Don't y'all wonder sometimes about me? I do. And then Star Wars, Ladies of the Legion. It's being a woman in the largely male-dominated fandom comes with its own challenges and opportunities. Ladies are invited to join members of the Rebel Legion, 501st and Mandalorian Mercs, as we discuss what it takes to be a lady in the Legion. I bet nobody thought that I would be able to say that. And then ghost hunting and haunted dolls. This is our panel, and that is going to be learn about ghost hunting equipment, hear ghost stories, and view pictures of EVPs. That's not quite worded right. And we will have haunted dolls on hand. Kevin actually brings his dolls when we go on locations like this. When he does his lectures and presentations such as at the Thomas House, and he used to do Mid-South as well. And I don't know if he's going this year. I haven't had the chance to ask him. But, there's just so many different venues for him. And for Kim, with her book, she's a brilliant writer. I enjoy all of them. But you don't think about you're walking into a place with haunted objects, right? And dolls freak people out. And you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. But those dolls of Kevin's are not scary dolls. But people run from them. Truly. I mean, run. I've been to his home when he had a party to, let people experience them. And he just likes to entertain. Those dolls are brilliant. He has so many. And you can feel who's there. He had one that was saying that her name was Molly when I was there the first time. And he was like, well, I don't have a Molly. I said, I think you do. And he was pretty adamant, and that was fine. But he did. And she was rather new. And he was in the, middle of entertaining and had all these people in his house, and he just missed it. And he actually told me later that, yep, she was there. She was right next to you. I said, I know. She was right by my shoulder. So it is kind of an odd thing and kind of cool. So just good things. But I am so lucky to get to hang out with these people, right? I have the best paranormal teams. I investigate with Scare, and I investigate with Casper. And I love them both. And, of course, I love participating with Ghost Hunt Weekends. It's always fun and a good time. So, there's so many options out there. I'm lucky to have them because I realize that not everybody does. So, well, that being said, I am curious. I know that I had someone ask about when the Magic City Con was, and now they're bummed out because they're actually off this weekend. But, there's all these different things to do. There's all these different places to go. There's actually an investigation this weekend that is a Ghost Hunt Weekends event at the old Paulding Jail, which is owned by our Friday night host, Shelley Robertson. And that's a fantastic place to go. It's a fantastic place to investigate with Ghost Hunt Weekends. And, You just can't touch it. All these wonderful things. So I am curious if anybody has any questions about something they want to do, just reach out to me. I can guide you to an event or an event company or to different locations and their contacts if you would like to be able to go somewhere on your own. I have a group of women that I investigate with, and it's fantastic. We just went to the Prospect Place Estate over in Ohio. I had no idea it was going to be that awesome, but it was. And it was even better because it was a bunch of friends who had gotten together and done these things. The evidence reviews were amazing. I have not completed mine because radio and learning and spectacular fails. And that's okay, because you don't learn if everything's easy. That's all right. So between all of that, if you go with an event company to start with, if you're new to paranormal investigating, you're going to get to use their equipment. You're going to get to learn from fantastic investigators. There's seasoned ones as well as newbies like you. There's a great benefit to trying equipment before you buy it. Some of it's expensive. I mean, geez, I'm trying to force myself to buy a FLIR because they're so expensive. But man, Steve Gonzalez told me that's the only evidence that cannot be debunked. Who knew? I didn't. And, it's just an amazing, terrific experience to get to learn from people who have a passion for what they do. Chad Morin is one of the most passionate people about ghost hunting I've ever met. Bar none. He is all about it. I don't really know what Felix's title is, but he's definitely second in command for Stacy and Chad. He is also passionate. The first time I ever saw him, he was jumping a fence at Sloss because he was making sure that the shadow figure they saw wasn't some guy who was messing with, the event. I'm from Birmingham, and I know jumping a fence at Sloss is insane. And off he went, and I'm freaking out. Not realizing at the time that it was him. Yes. And it was something else to meet people that involved. They have celebrities at their events, but their celebrities are also passionate about ghost hunting. They love it, or they wouldn't do it. I mean, they do shows and stuff, but they do investigations on their own, too. Amy Bruni started her own paranormal event company. The guys from Ghost Asylum and Haunted Towns, the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, are always coming up with new methodologies, new ideas. Brandon is an amazing researcher and tech developer. And you can't go wrong if you spend time around him during an investigation. It's just a great group of people. And they also bring in authors like my friend Kevin, who have an extraordinary collection of haunted objects. They've had Kyle Cobb, who is an exorcist, an expert on the Bell Witch, and a brilliant author. Demonologist, exorcist, he does both. And that was fascinating. They have someone on their staff who is a descendant of the Bell family. And she shared her family history too. You never know what you're going to find out, what you're going to learn. And it is fun. I've been ghost hunting forever. And I love to go with them because I learn something new every time. I see a different piece of equipment every time. I am so excited because someone I investigate with just posted in chat saying, I just bought the coolest gadget. I can't wait to use it. So now I'm sitting here going, what was that? So you need to post what you bought, Lauren. And she says she can figure out how to use it, right? That's one of the drawbacks of going off and getting something cool for yourself and you haven't tried it with someone else yet. But you know what? She'll get it. I know she will. She's amazing. But she was with us at Prospect Place also. I kind of like investigating with just women. No, that's not sexist. It's just a fact. It was fun. You didn't have to worry about separate rooms and all this other stuff. And it was amazing. That was a great location. Kim actually had a door open and close. It opened for her. And she got it on video. Always have your cameras running. So, that being said, I am going to wrap this up. I have had the best time tonight. I do not ever do a 2-hour monologue. Bless your hearts. But I did it for Alien Con because it was just that neat. And Contact in the Desert was totally amazing. They were worth a 2-hour monologue also. But I wanted to try to help promote this event that we're participating with this weekend as well. So if you have not been to Contact, you need to go. You will love it. You'll become part of their family. The people that participate as their speakers are just absolutely neat. And I wouldn't have traded it. And I'm so glad to be part of their family because I value that. It is just too neat and too awesome. They have the very, very best volunteers I've ever seen. That was amazing. And they're passionate. They love what they do. They love being part of Contact. There's nothing like it. Of course, they're all individual. That's what makes them special. Ozark Mountain UFO Conference, 31st anniversary. I was so glad to be a part of that. It was terrific because I got to see my friend Chase present for the first time. And it happened to be on the forensic results of her Peruvian skull investigation. She's who did the forensic work on that. She went to school and got a forensic degree just to be able to do that investigation. What an amazing woman. I'm so fortunate with my friends in this field. So, that being said, thank you so very much. I am thankful for every one of you, and I look forward to the next. Next week is going to be a serious preview of the Alien Con event. I'm going to share the speakers. It's going to be a short show because I have to be up at the crack of dawn. Actually, I have to be on a plane at the crack of dawn because I'm flying to Vegas and driving to LA. But, you know, it's going to be amazing because I love sharing these experiences with you. And I am excited about doing that and about going and about being here. Thank y'all all for your support. Thank you for supporting Shelley. And you know what? We're out. But I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.